Hello, Facebook and YouTube and all that jazz. This is Shantaram's vlog number 2. In this vlog, I'm going to read a story that I wrote. I wrote this story about 3 years ago. This is a great story. It's a little bit creepy, I might say. I like to write stories every once in a while, and this is a story that I wrote. It's called The Story of Greg the Bus Driver. The radio was blaring a poppy tune on the bus for all the students on the bus. There were 4 kids that always sat at the back of the bus and 1 kid that wanted to sit extremely close to the front of the bus. Other kids were scattered throughout the old musky yellow school bus. The bus got to school and the bus driver said, "All right, everyone, have a wonderful day at school." Greg was an older man in his early 50s, medium in size, not too heavy in weight, with short gray hair and a gray beard. He was single and had no kids. The only kids he had were the ones he looked after on the school bus. He had a couple of hobbies, but one of his hobbies was flying model airplanes. He would construct planes out of balsa wood, which is a soft, light wood that when put together to form a model plane will fly with a remote-controlled motor intact. After Greg dropped his children off the bus, he quickly got into his 1984 pickup and went to his workshop to work on constructing his model airplane. His skill of forming these model airplanes had catapulted due to the fact that it had been his hobby for 12 years. Greg's plane was nearly finished. She was almost set to fly. Greg got back onto his bus to take the kids home after working in his workshop. He looked into his finger-smudged mirror that would check on the kids on the back of the bus. He noticed something odd. The 4 kids sitting on the back of the bus were acting a little bit strange, like something had happened or was going to happen. Greg continued watching the children at the back of the bus. They were quiet as a stone, sitting in the middle of an empty desert. This shocked Greg, as they were usually happy and talking about the next video game they were going to play. Everyone had exited the bus. It was a good day, as tomorrow Greg got to fly his model airplane. Greg awoke the next morning. It was a Saturday. He loaded up his plane into the back of his 1984 pickup, quickly jumped into his car, turned the key, and was set to fly. Greg arrived at the field where he would fly. The field was large. It was foggy out and a little mysterious this particular Saturday. Greg unloaded his plane. There was a device that he would put his plane on to kickstart the plane. He loaded the plane on his device. Phew! The plane was launched into the air at about 40 miles per hour. The wind was blowing quite hard. The trees surrounding Greg were swaying back and forth. The tiny blades of grass rustled in the wind, while a raven swooped down to pick up a worm out of the ground. The raven soared in the air, while the worm in the raven's mouth struggled to escape from the raven devouring it. The sound of dogs could be heard barking in the distant neighborhoods. The fog was so thick. No sign of sunshine in sight. The plane was being controlled by Greg. Greg had a big smile on his face as the plane was flying at his control through the air. The raven all of a sudden started coming down and pecking at Greg's head. "Damn it, bird, quit that!" Greg tried to shoo the raven away, but the raven continued pecking at Greg's head. Greg threw the remote control down to the ground and shooed the raven away, frustratingly, frantically flapping his hands like a crazy man. The bird cawed and left Greg alone. Greg immediately looked up to see where his plane was. The plane could be seen taking a nosedive into someone's neighborhood. "Shoot!" Greg said aloud. Greg walked over towards where he saw the plane fall, wind glistening in his hair. He started walking slow. Then he gradually walked faster until he started a steady jog about 900 feet away. He hopped a wire fence. As he hopped the fence, he snagged the side of his hand on a piece of protruding wire. His skin tore and blood gushed from his hand. He immediately pulled off his t-shirt and ripped off a piece to wrap around his hand as to stop the bleeding. Blood quickly clogged the t-shirt surrounding his hand. He stepped up to the front of the old beat-up house. The house was brown in color, with a pen for two dogs that were barking extremely loud. The grass was extremely tall, looked like it hadn't been mowed for years. There were old milk cartons surrounding the lawn and Coors Light cans everywhere around the house. Greg rapped on the old beat-up door, which was in need of being painted. One of the kids that sat on the back of his bus answered the door. "Greg," explained the kid. "Hey, I think one of my planes is in your backyard. Can I come and get it?" The young boy nodded his head in a sulky, silent manner. He looked horrible, like he hadn't slept in a few days. He walked Greg through the house and into the backyard. To Greg's astonishment, there was a huge hole being dug in the backyard, and beside the hole was a bag, a simple brown grocery sack. "What's in the bag, son?" asked Greg. I can't tell you. Just get your plane and leave," exclaimed the young boy. Greg suspected illegal activity, so he quickly ran over and glanced in the bag. In the bag was a huge bag of cassette tapes. Greg got home with this paper sack of tapes and immediately pulled out the drawer that held his tape player for the audio system. He popped the tape player into the player, and to his astonishment, he heard the voice of Paul McCartney from the Beatles. He popped in another tape to the old stereo player, and to his astonishment, it was all audio tapes in the Beatles in their early years. It was music that would have never been heard before by the world. Tom couldn't believe that he had just gotten his hands on a winning lottery ticket. Well, actually a bag of audio tapes. Greg paced his floor in a nervous but happy manner. He was in complete shock at what he had found. This could be worth millions. Jack stashed the audio tapes in a cupboard full of other audio tapes. The cupboard had tons of grocery bags of old audio tapes he'd recorded in the 80s, from Nirvana to Madonna. He went to bed but couldn't sleep. He stayed in bed the whole day before he was supposed to drive the kids to school. Greg had been up for 52 hours now, straight. He got on his bus and did his bus route. He was tired and anxious. He was about as anxious as someone with a multi-million lottery ticket in his possession. His route was unusual this day. The first 7 stops, no kids got on the bus. Greg's eyes started closing as he was so tired. He swerved a little when the car honked, and Greg quickly opened his eyes. He came to the stop where he picked up the kid whose audio tapes he had. Greg was a little anxious as the kid approached the door. The door opened, and the kid entered the bus and looked Greg in the eyes with a sad look. Greg quickly made eye contact with the kid and reversed the yellow bus when he ran over a huge nail that punctured the tire of the bus. Greg was unaware of this and proceeded to enter the freeway. Air deflated from the tire, and Greg was extremely drowsy and wasn't in complete control of driving the bus. The bum tire just added negativity to Greg's driving ability. Road work was being done, and a new bridge was being built. The side of the bridge was being put on. Greg and the kid were the only people on the bus. He was going to the next house when the bus swerved out of control. Crash! The bus tumbled into the water below, immediately terminating the lives of Greg and the passenger. Jesus Christ, this guy had a lot of audio tapes. Yeah, he was just a single guy, no kids. Evidently, he loved music. Yeah, but audio tapes? Sheesh, he could have had at least a decent CD collection. Put him in the van, take him to the dump. Gladly. So that's an interesting story that I wrote. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is the Shantaram vlog number 2. I don't know what I'll vlog about, but it'll be something. Thank you, my fans, for watching. I love everybody on Facebook. I'm trying to be a little more social now on the internet. Thanks, you guys. Bye.